Hey everybody, Vice here. Welcome back to Let's Play King's Quest II, the VGA remake. Let's continue on. Since last time we completed all the tests and got the air gem. In this episode we'll be continuing on through the church now.
The monk is in deep prayer and does not respond to your words. Feeling humbled, you kneel down to pray. You rise again after a few moments. The monk stirs, stands, and turns to face you. It would not be prudent to touch a man of the cloth without his consent.
Father, I go now to a place of darkness. While I am stout of heart, the path laid down before me is unclear. I seek only the knowledge that my passage be illuminated by heavenly favor, and a prayer that I may make it through.
The monk gives you a reassuring smile and pats you on the shoulder. He then lifts a silver cross from around his neck and places it in your hands.
Thank you.
You are welcome, my child.
You can talk?
Of course.
I thought monks were forbidden from speaking.
Not all churches follow the same rules, and this church is quite unique.
Really? How so?
The monk just smiles placidly at you.
About this crucifix.
I believe you will find the cross to be of immense value. It has come to us at a huge price.
It was expensive?
I mean that it has cost us more than any value to be in possession of it.
If I may ask, why is it that you only open the church at dusk?
We find the late hours more favorable.
But surely then you would not have many in your congregation.
Yes, that is true.
What do you know of the Count?
Only that he is a heathen, a blasphemer. You serve God well by going there, my child. Bless you.
The monk smiles at you, turns back to the altar, kneels, and resumes his prayers.
Let's go to a creepy spot. Like that gargoyle.
You've never been terribly fond of gargoyles, and this one isn't likely to sway your opinion.
Yeah, that's actually creeped me out. I want to leave this place now. This actually creeps me out. Okay, let's leave. Well, that was a little creepy. Anywho.
Without warning, a pair of wolves dart out of the dark forest and dash towards you.
What?
For a minute there, you thought those wolves were going to attack. Curious as to why they didn't, you decide to follow them.
I would just take off. I don't think that's a good idea, Graham.
You see the monk standing alone outside the church. Then you notice the two wolves approaching him. You are about to yell a warning to the monk, but the words die in your throat as the man steps forward and pats the wolves' heads.
No, my brothers, we must not hurt him. Not yet. He will go to the heathen's abode. He will do what needs to be done. What if he does not? Then, my brothers, we will complete the task before us, the one we began many years
ago. Oh, good gods. I think we all know where this is going.
You quickly move away from the church, your heart racing faster with every step. You have a good idea now what will happen once the moon comes out in full, and you do not want to be anywhere near here when it does. One thing's for sure, you're not getting married in that church.
That's a bad honeymoon. That was a bad pun, too. Let's get out of here. Church? That's how I spell church. Church is evil. Run. church is bad. Run. Okay, there is one death I've liked the first time I played this game that I found that was my favorite, and I can never find it again. I want to see if I can actually get that death now. If I can, that'd be sweet, because I haven't seen this death in forever, and I really want it. So I'm going here immediately.
Oh, sir. Have you seen my little...
Come on.
Perhaps you should try locating the elderly woman's granddaughter before venturing back into the house.
Oh, come on! I want to see the death... Yeah. I want to see the death thing. I never got to see... Am I never going to be able to see my favorite death again? Guess not. Anyway, let's go look for Possum.
You hear the sound of a child sobbing nearby.
That was quick.
As you approach, you recognize the child. It is Possum, the little girl you helped earlier today.
Are you all right? What happened?
I went into town to buy some chicken soup for my grandma. I always try to reach home before dark, but this eve I lost my way and was attacked.
Attacked? A wolf attacked you?
No, not by a wolf, a dwarf.
Aw.
For a moment, you're not sure that you heard correctly.
A dwarf, did you say?
Yeah.
He jumped out at me, took my food, and then ran away.
Listen, I'm going to try to find this dwarf that you say stole your food. You get back to your grandma, understand?
Possum nods, says a soft thank you, and heads back home.
Okay, maybe now is the opportunity to see that death. Come on, death.
Welcome. Come in, please. Possum told me to expect you.
Oh, bugger. I think I just made so it's impossible to see the death now. Now I'm really disappointed. Oh, well. Hey, let's go find that darn dwarf. Right up here. Knock on the door.
You rap on the treehouse door and wait a moment, but get no response.
Now we gotta move fast.
You watch as a little man runs out of the door, which has been built into a tree. You surmise that you have found the culprit's home. The vague aroma of chicken soup confirms it. That fiend. Finding the door ajar, you cautiously open it and step inside the tree.
Okay. How do you spell dwarf? Dwarf's home? I think that's how you spell it. I'm not sure. I don't know how to spell words. Me no English, do not care no. Bleh. I didn't even want to say it that way, and I did anyway. Ugh. Anywho.
That's not a knife. The knife you found under a rock one time? Now that was a knife.
Reference to the first game. Well, let's get the chicken soup.
You grab the handle of the bubbling pot of chicken soup. You take it with you. Upon opening the trunk, you find a number of items that the dwarf has obviously stolen and stashed away. Among them are some gold coins. They display the distinctive face of the first king. They could only have come from the magic chest of Daventry.
Well, that's creepy. We're gonna save again.
You close the chest.
we're actually gonna wait for a minute because I'm gonna show a bleh. I'm gonna show a bleh, and then I'm gonna show a huh. No, I'm going to show a death here.
You suspect it to be very hot and wisely decide not to touch it.
But yeah, the soup that was in the fire that you clearly took with your bare hands, that wasn't hot at all. Considering the fact the bowl was made of metal. Actually, no matter what the bowl was made of, it would have been hot. Okay, game. I'm just gonna walk in circles until I have the death scene. Hello, furnace turning on. Am I gonna have to cut it to where I see the death? Because this is getting ridiculous. Or do I actually have to be over here?
You hear the sound of the door creaking, followed by someone descending the ladder in the next room.
Now, I'm not going to show this, but you can actually save yourself by actually hiding inside the treasure chest over there, or the trunk. Not treasure chest, just a trunk. But I'm not going to do that. I can just walk out once I get the thing and just get out without having to go in there. So we're just going to show the death here. Anytime. Do I have to be over here? Yes, I do. That's weird.
Being caught snooping around someone else's house usually has a negative consequence. Did you learn nothing from your experience with that witch last year?
Nope. I'm just gonna close this.
You close.
And get out of here.
You hear the sound.
Crud. I have to in order to save myself, apparently.
Thinking quickly, you hide in the trunk.
I rarely have to do this, but apparently I have to.
The dwarf has entered his underground hovel. Hopefully, he won't discover you in here. You sense that the coast is clear again.
The coast is clear? The coast is clear? I thought it was always the ghost is clear, not the coast. Maybe that's just me. I've never heard that phrase correctly or something,
it looks
but whatever.
like the door creaked open again after the dwarf left.
Good, let's get out of here.
You hear the latch fall into place again.
Let's get over to Grandma's house quick.
You'll need to walk around.
Really, game? Okay, we gotta put the soup on here now because it's cold again.
You place the now cold chicken soup over the crackling fire once more. After it heats up to eating temperature, you remove it again.
Now we just give it to Possum's grandmother. There we go.
You offer the soup to Possum's grandma, introduce yourself, and wait courteously while the frail elderly lady eats the nourishing meal.
Nom nom nom.
When she is finished, she sets the empty bowl down elsewhere and turns her attention towards you.
Oh, I'm supposed to press something.
If you would like to speak with me for a while, I would welcome your company. A person should never turn away a visitor, especially when she reaches the twilight of her life.
You can't help but feel a sense of finality in the old woman's words.
You must have something in return for your kindness. You do not need to risk your safety for an old, worn-out woman like myself. Look under the bed. You should find something to keep you a little warmer on a cold night like this.
Let's see what we have here.
Rearrangement of. You peer under the bed and find a thick black cloak. Lying atop it is a beautiful ruby-encrusted ring. You pick both up with reverence.
I could not possibly take these fine things from you.
Oh, please. I want you to have them. Nights in Kolima are cold. Believe me. As for the ring, well, perhaps it is better that I do not have it to remind me.
As you wish.
You are now wearing the beautiful ruby ring.
There, I'll put the ruby ring on now.
You have a charming young granddaughter.
Grandma smiles at you graciously.
She is a treasure to me. I would do anything to ensure that no harm comes to her.
If I may inquire, what became of her parents?
Grandma frowns, and her eyes darken for a moment before she forces a melancholy smile to her face.
They were lost to us many years ago. I am afraid dear Possum never really knew her parents.
It must have been a daunting task raising a child by yourself, especially at your,
At my age? I am certainly not as young as I used to be, and there is no shame in that. I have tried to raise her as best I could, to keep her safe and well. However, I fear that as of late the reverse has become truer.
Actually, I want to see something for a second. I've never done this before.
The painting on the wall looks like an artist's depiction of the Kalima landscape. You wonder who painted this. It is a portrait of a young man. He looks somewhat familiar.
Okay, back to what we were doing.
If you please, I was hoping you might tell me of the cloak and ring's origin.
The old woman closes her eyes as if the memory she seeks is painful to her senses.
Oh.
They were my
Whoops.
husband's. He was a proud man, the last of his line. His family had been rich, a great deal of old money, you might say. They lived in that castle you might have seen to the north. Its location upon that island is evidence of how much they valued their privacy. He was a good man, my husband. He took care of me. Certainly he had his strange habits. Most men do, if you would pardon me for saying so. I suspect that he practiced magic, so I could never catch him in the act.
Yeah.
He would frequently journey afar, taking that black cloak with him wherever he went, to places he would not talk about. He said that it represented something important to a certain group of people, and that I was never to mention it to anyone. But he was always there for me, always, until that fateful night. We had been married just over a year, and I was heavy with child. We were both out walking in the weirwood forest late one night. The air was warm, and in our youth we paid little attention to the world and its many dangers. Besides, there was a full moon. We could see clearly enough. A shadow passed over us. We looked up, thinking it might have been a stray cloud. It was not. Descending upon us like a demon was the largest, most hideous bat I had ever seen. Its fangs were bared, and it dove straight for me. I must have screamed. My husband flung himself in front of me to protect me. He swung his arms about frantically in hopes of warding the horrid thing away. Perhaps he was trying to cast a spell, but could not recall how in his panic. It paid him no heed and would not be deterred. It swooped again and again relentlessly. At one point, my husband's hand must have clipped the bat's wing because it lost control and crashed into his shoulder. He tried to wrest the foul creature away, but then he shrieked suddenly. The horrid thing had bitten him. He never did recover from that incident. He just faded with each passing hour. Within 2 days of the attack, my husband had died. We buried him on his family's plantation on the island. Sometimes when I sleep, I can feel him watching over me, guarding me, protecting me. I think he is waiting for my time to come so we can be together always.
The old lady seems to be dozing off. You can barely hear her final words.
I miss him so.
Telling the story has clearly taken a great deal out of her. You watch the old woman a moment and notice her labored breathing as she sleeps. Despite the little girl's tireless daily efforts, perhaps there's nothing more to be done.
Okay, I made it just back in time. I had to go do something too. So yeah, that's a kind of a depressing story there. Unfortunately, there's nothing more I can do for them for now. Meanwhile...
Sister Agatha, my dear, tell me you have good news.
The king has arrived in Kalima, father.
That is not what I meant.
Yes. Well, he appears to be quite resourceful. It seems his reputation was not totally exaggerated.
He's still alive?
For now, but that will change soon, I think. The king has discovered that one of the gems he seeks is in the possession of a colleague of ours. Do you remember? Caldor.
Yes. Is he still trustworthy?
Totally. Still sharp, and there's no questioning his loyalty. My humblest apologies, father, but would it not have been simpler for you to have dealt with Graham personally?
Fool! Imagine the ensuing chaos where Daventry's king murdered in his own land. How then would I be able to search for the item?
I see.
Failure is not an option.
Understood, father.
Keep me informed, preferably of good King Graham's death.